everyone. Before the episode starts off, just want to let you know, Volume 1 does have audio-only episodes on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. If you were on iTunes, if you could leave us a 5-star review, that would be awesome. And if you want to support Volume 1 on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/volume1pod.
Yes, exactly.
Because this is absurd. This is absurd.
It's bizarre.
It is bizarre. And now we're finally back. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast, where we review the first volume of a brand new manga each week. But today, we're completing our Jojo Part 1 Phantom Blood journey. My name is Josh Zeppeli Michaels, and today, as always, I am joined by
Megan, the baby face ripper Perrine.
Good. That was good. Yeah, Cody, musical reference Decker.
Okay, I'll take it. Thank you for tuning into another
you
episode. Today, we are completing Phantom Blood. It was only 2 more volumes in the first part, so we decided to just get ahead of it and finish it so we could get on to more JoJo. We've been told by people in the comments and just by other fans that Phantom Blood isn't necessarily the best representation of JoJo, but I think for all of us, it was super important to start at the very beginning and work our way farther into the series. But having said that, before we jump back into where we left off, how was the rest of this part? How was this experience for you guys?
Cody?
I like the story. People talk way too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of dialogue. Like, it feels like at some points meaningless.
Yeah.
Like, you know, an addition to a fight or just a sentence. I'm just like, did you have to announce that? Like,
it feels way sillier. The absurdity and yes, the bizarre factor was raised. However, I found myself like surprisingly connecting with and enjoying the first volume a little bit more than I did the second and third one, and not because it got so crazy, but I don't know. I just feel like there was more character and I don't know, heart and struggle in the first part.
With Speedwagon, his character really just got turned into the guy it just turned into like he was like doing like an opera singer because he just narrated everything that was happening.
He's like, Jojo, he's going to die, and it's like,
but what's this?
Yeah, dude. I mean, there were times where, and look, I have full confidence and faith that JoJo is going to get extremely better and better and better, especially because, like me and you were saying, Cody, Megan, I don't think you're familiar with the stands and that whole power system, but I'm so excited to get there. I know it's going to be good, but this part, there were points where I was laughing out loud, and not because it was funny, but like Speedwagon for sure. Every time he talked towards the climax and around where they're fighting those 2 knights, he was just saying shit, and he was just this like NPC background exposition character, and it was so funny to me.
Yeah, because that's what it got. I don't know if it was like Stockholm Syndrome, where like I was like, no, this is good what they're doing, because I liked him at the beginning a lot.
Yeah,
but he like barely does anything.
He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's like if he was like if it was a play and there's like just one guy standing in front of all the other actors just saying what they're doing.
It is.
And he's like, I wish I could do something.
It's important to say that he does want to do stuff the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he keeps commenting on the fact that he is doing nothing and wants to be doing more. And there's a point where
he'll jump in and
he gets a chance to try to do more. One of those moments is played as a joke, and then another moment is just him just screaming passionately, which is kind of, I think, his thing.
Yeah.
But look, I know that it's going to get good, and I know that it's going to get better. And not that this was like bad. I just found myself like kind of enjoying it a little less and less as it went on. Reading it for me wasn't as much of a breeze. Cody, you said it took you, you're usually a pretty fast reader. You said it took you hours to read.
This was like so long because most of it was dialogue.
Yeah.
And so much of it was describing things that were already happening. I was seriously like, oh my God, it's still going.
There's a lot. I mean, it's a good amount of chapters per volume. Like,
yeah, this did not feel like 2 volumes.
No.
It's crazy because I mean, it really is. But the chapters are shorter, but there are just so many more of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were times that it kind of felt a little like Berserk. There were times that it felt very Fist of the North Star, and I guess Berserk, like in the setting and in the art style, because the art is phenomenal. I think that, you know, some of the poses I love. Some of
the building shots.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. The scenery, the backgrounds. I mean, it has a lot going for it.
But again, the dialogue is heavy. It's like not just a fight scene. It's like there's like 4 or 5 bubbles that you need to read, and it's like one is explaining what's happening, the other one is explaining what happened like 50 years ago and how it pertains to what is happening. Yeah. It's so, and I'm like, what? And then it's like mid-fight and they're like, and this era, I'm like, what is this?
And if you skip one of those, you'll end up missing a huge important plot
so you
point.
have to really.
So some of them are just them describing what's happened, but then one of them will be like, and that's why we have to do this. I'm like, God, now I have to go back and reread that bubble because that one actually mattered.
I mean, it was a lot different than the first volume.
Yeah, and
it changed quite a lot.
Yeah, shout out my boy Zeppeli. You know, I loved him, but I mean, he told his backstory twice. I mean, I laughed the third. It was like 3 times. Like the third time around, maybe, I was like,
and then like another guy walks up, like, "What's your story?" He's like,
yeah.
In the anime, he's like, "What's his name?" Speedwagon's like, "I must know. Where did you learn this?" And he goes. And then he like looks.
Yeah,
it's every time someone asks him.
I just have to. He's just yelling.
It's so silly.
It's super
ridiculous.
silly. Dramatic. It's very dramatic. Very theatrical.
Very theatrical. So
that's
the right word.
Yeah.
Is
it's
the
not like
correct
silly.
word.
It's just like when you watch like live theater, like
it's over the top.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like we're gonna get into it, but like I didn't have a problem with the magic system. I thought it was pretty unique. I thought it was pretty cool. It did feel a little bit like, Jojo at one point is just working his way through, baddie after baddie after baddie to get to the boss. But the Hamon system and that technique, I thought was fun.
Yeah, it reminded me so much of Highlander.
Really?
Did you see Highlander?
No.
Oh,
I know of Highlander.
How dare you?
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, but he was like,
Good.
I mean, it's like these are movies that were out when you were like younger. You know?
I don't know about all that.
Who's in it?
Arnold Schwarzenegger played him in one movie, right?
No.
I thought he did.
No.
Absolutely. No. Absolutely. Sean Connery played like a Spanish guy. But like he like comes in and introduces the character to like this world of magic, and they train like in like a pond and everything. It was like, oh, so many of these things are like that.
Yeah. Again, parts of it I like, but I think you guys are hitting it on the head. The dialogue was just a little much.
Like I like forced myself to be like, all right, so this is like like you're just imagining Speedwagon like singing it like. And now he pulls out a second knife.
Yeah.
It's just
with speed.
It's literally like I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna maybe like watch it a little bit and then go back and read it if I miss anything, because they do change a little bit here and there, but it's just the exact same thing.
Well, I watched,
and it might be worse. Just it might be a little more silly watching it because it's just so dramatic. I mean, it's not in a bad way. It's just like it's supposed to be done like that, but it's just really.
We
just watched. Yeah.
I thought like, all that narrating will be way better and stuff, because I'll probably not do most of it in the anime. And it's like, well, not only do you get all the narration, you have to just sit there and take the narration.
Yeah. But I will say, like, the manga is for sure, I think, was where obviously the art shines and the gore. There's more gore.
Something I really liked was when they have super strength and they punch someone, it like tears through their bodies. Because I don't like, it's like, oh, they're super strong. And they kick someone and they get like blown across the room
into a wall.
Yeah. It's like, that's not what happens if you hit someone with a sledgehammer.
No, you
would destroy their body. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are getting ripped apart. Babies are getting eaten. Like,
dude,
it's
that
crazy.
panel was nuts.
And they show it all. I mean, in the anime, I don't even think they show Danny coming out of the furnace on fire.
Yeah, because in the manga, he's alive still when they find him.
So, I mean, at least the manga has that going for it, that you can get, the most.
Yeah, one of the darkest moments I've seen in a story too.
Yeah.
With the mother and the baby.
Oh, that was super dark. And I want to say, like, you kind of touched on in a different episode. I think it was our One Piece episode, like why you're able to connect and relate to Usopp so much is because like he's a very relatable character you can easily put yourself in his shoes and have to be resourceful and do the things that he does to like compete with the people that are stronger than him or on a higher level. I felt that way in the beginning. Like I could connect to Dio and I could connect to Jojo, and that moment with Danny felt so real. And I don't think anything else, like maybe the baby, but I don't think anything else like really felt that like heart or gut wrenching or emotional or like shocking or horrifying because it was so real. Everything else just got like way over the top, and that's not a bad thing. But yeah,
it was there was an adjustment period
for sure. It switches gears fast, fast. All right, let's go through it. We'll go through it as quickly or as methodically as we need to. But so where we left off was Dio had just put the mask on. Which is funny. When I went to go back to like make the outline, I was like, wow. This is going to be a 5-hour episode.
Where we left off, Dio just put the mask on.
Where we left off, the beginning. And that's what it kind of feels like, you know?
Yeah. No, honestly, nothing really mattered, but it doesn't anymore.
We got some introductions and stuff, but I mean, this is where I think it really does start to shift gears, right? Like Dio puts the mask on, he's shot, Jojo's dad's dying on the floor, and then we're kind of like
lying on the cold hard ground.
Oh,
You know, music references. Yes. Music references. I'll allow.
You could say you could say he's in trouble.
I don't know.
That's the song we were singing.
Is it? Oh,
Taylor Swift. Okay, wow.
Were you singing Taylor Swift?
Yes, he was.
Oh, I just wouldn't expect that from Cody.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know you were so trendy.
I'm like trouble.
Now I'm lying on the cold
Taylor
hard
Swift,
ground.
you know. I watched her documentary.
You did?
Yeah.
Did it go by pretty faster?
I liked it. Anyway,
okay, he's lying on the floor.
The policeman is like in shock, and he tells this story of like Dio's dad and the ring.
Dude.
And we find out that basically Dio's dad, when he was like looting Jonathan's father's body, he found a ring, and this like cop who was a young and up and coming cop knew that this guy couldn't afford this ring. It had to have been stolen. So he took it from him, put him in jail, and like hunted down who the ring belonged to, found out it belonged to the Joestar family, confronted him, brought him to the prison, and was like, this is the guy that stole your stuff. Like, I want you to see him face to face, and it's Dio's dad. So we know that like Jonathan's dad knew that Dio's dad was a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been a bad guy.
Final point against the dad because he knew he stole from him in the first place.
That was literally, the final point. But Jonathan's dad kind of forgives him, lies for him to get him out. And ultimately, that is the reason that he's sitting on the cold, hard floor dying.
Yeah. He's like, what if I just arrested him and never let him? Like, it's always a sad story that they go back and flash back to.
Yeah. I mean, it's to show, I guess, that his dad is a really kind guy and that their family just like believes in the kindness of others, I guess, which, you know, look where that got you.
So here's
look where that got
the real moral here is like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Which what I liked in the when Speedwagon, you know, he's like, don't listen to that man. He's evil. And he just justifies what he does. He's still evil at heart. And he's like blaming his background. I'm like, yeah, that's why I like Speedwagon.
Yeah.
Is he really broke down what Dio was doing to Jojo because he just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because Dio was like, I had a troubled upbringing. Speedwagon, that doesn't matter. He's killed people.
Yeah.
And he's going to kill you.
Yeah, I wish we would have got more of that from Speedwagon.
And even towards the end, he's like, I shouldn't have done that, but I just feel like Dio, he felt like he was being treated differently than you. And I'm like, do you not get it? Does no one in this fucking family understand that there's bad people? Like, he still, up until he died, was not blaming Dio.
That's why I liked what the dynamic I thought was with Speedwagon and Jojo, where Speedwagon would be like his, like, you know, sensible, like, person, like you get that,
the
like,
voice of reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, instead he kind of just explains what's happening in a photo.
Yeah, in a very theatrical way.
He's more like the voice of treason.
Oh, that rhymes.
Treason? Isn't that when you lie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
Dio lied.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Speedwagon.
Oh,
Speedwagon,
no, Dio.
he tells you exactly what's happening.
No. He's the truth.
Yeah.
Like some sort of speed wagon.
Oh.
Okay, that was, wow.
He fell off the wagon there.
There we go. You can't make a bad joke in hopes that someone will
It
save
happened.
you.
It's called Faith in Others.
Oh, Mr. Joestar.
Oh, Mr. Joestar, is that you?
So yeah, I mean that was a little aside, and yeah, you know, Jonathan's dad. I mean, he was sort of a character that I had a hard time like getting behind since the beginning because of his relationship with Jojo the whole time. Yeah. You know, he was like, he cared for him when he cared for him, and he was really kind of an asshole. At other times.
He was only redeeming quality was he was a DILF, and that's pretty much it.
He was a DILF.
That, and he took the knife that was gonna kill Jojo.
That too. Two redeeming qualities. Dio's alive, slicing through people. This is where the gore comes in, like slicing through people. And he's using people like bowling balls. Like he gets his like fingers in there and he like picks them up. That was cool to see. Like, cool. Again, I think we talked about it in our part 1 video, like the twist on a vampire. It's not like it is very close to what we know a vampire to be, but with a little spin on it.
With a little spin, because he can make zombies. I mean, they're like vampires, but they all call them zombies.
Well, I think that's what you would call vampire spawn. Or I know there's another term for it, but
minions.
Well, I'm basing this off a game, but there was like that. I know, but it's based on vampire lore. But like, you know, you could there's like a thing where it's like you could get turned into a vampire, or you like if it doesn't take, you get turned into like a vampire like servant. And then, but that's their explanation for why zombies exist.
Yeah, and then when you read the interview in the back of the, I think, 3rd volume, you know, the mangaka does talk about what he wanted to see in a villain, what he found fascinating about evil people he found more fascinating the type of evil people that can control others. He felt like with serial killers, and he tells us like pretty interesting anecdote about like there was a killer and he got a group of women together and he would take them out one at a time to kill them. And he just wonders why, you know, none of them all got together and rallied and used like their numbers to overpower this guy. Like, what was it about that fear that he had instilled in them and the control that he had over them? And he just kind of like found all that fascinating, which is why he wanted Dio to be able to like create servants.
Yeah, I think it's like a vampire like poison.
Well, later, yeah, they say it's like
a goo.
Yeah.
It's a certain goo.
Yeah, it's like a goo. Because one of Jojo's new, like he's able to like reject it from his body.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, he flexes and then it squirts out.
Yeah.
Because he can make someone like basically just have like his perks, but they like have to be loyal to them, or it turns them into a zombie.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the key difference is that like they're getting their powers from him, and he's getting his powers from the mask, and so that's what makes him like the ultimate guy. But yeah, so you know, just powering through this part a little bit, you know, Dio fucks everybody up. Speedwagon's arm gets fucked up, but Dio and Jojo, they have their first sort of fight with these new abilities, and Jojo is very much trying to figure it out. And also, since everybody else at this point is dead, he's just trying to protect Speedwagon. So they hide behind this curtain, and Dio goes to look for him, and he has set the curtain and is setting the house on fire. This fight was, I think, as far as fights go, like I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty fine. I thought it was pretty good.
It was on the edge where it was like, okay, well now he has superpowers, but they're kind of like still baseline.
And I think why Jojo, it does make sense why Jojo was able to kind of beat him, or at least get away, was because like Dio was still figuring out his abilities. At this point, like Jojo doesn't know about Haman or doesn't know about anything else. He's just sort of a regular guy. Heavy quotations around that. And so like he sets the house on fire, and instead of fleeing, he makes Dio chase him all the way up to the roof so that the fire will spread. And
again, like Speedwagon's outside. And I'm like, how attached did he get to this man in the short time he's on? He's like, no, he couldn't. No, my God, Joe. He's just like freaking out that he's gonna I'm like, this is his fight.
They did just meet.
They did.
He's in love with him, I think.
I mean, he must respect the fuck out of him. He might
legitimately be.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see him with anybody else.
Huh?
Think about that.
Yeah,
and it's a guy showing affection for another guy.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
That's what I'm sort of...
Not portrayed in media
I
often.
thought you were saying that was bizarre. Which it's not. It's beautiful.
No, it's the thing. It's come up where it's like if any two guys show affection for each other, like the people will be like, "Oh, isn't that sweet?" They're like probably gay.
Yeah, they'll
like,
ship them immediately.
Yeah, they're shipped. Yeah.
I mean, I would ship Speedwagon and Jojo. Why not? I mean, it's not like Arena is like much better.
That was also like I was much more in favor of that relationship in the beginning.
Yeah.
She really becomes like very hollow. I feel like she's not given much character other than just like, stereotypical archetype woman in distress who loves.
I mean,
the
it
hero.
is for the time. I think that she's just kind of like. I mean, I like the sister more. I liked. What's his name? Chico. What's his name?
Oh, you're
The
talking
kid.
about Poco's sister.
Poco's sister. Yeah, I think she was better.
Yeah, she was cool. She was cool. And the fight here is the only ridiculous part that I just for the comments got to say that like it was fun. I had a good time. I'm
starting to accept there's no point in even clarifying that.
I know. Especially at this point. I again, like I wasn't like over the moon about it, but I, enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I, enjoyed it. But there was a couple things that I just thought were a little ridiculous and funny and silly. And one of those was when they're falling down through the mansion. Jojo has taken this like javelin from this statue or whatever.
Yeah.
Suit of armor. And he's like used it to stab Dio. It's broken. And now he has a little piece of it. They're falling. He's trying to grab Dio. Dio like kicks him off of him. So while he's falling, he stabs the javelin into the wall and then like somersaults onto the javelin and then uses the javelin to jump and propel him up towards Dio, still realizing that he's not going to catch him. So midair takes his belt off and then uses his belt as a lasso to hook Dio. And I was like, this is what we're doing. This is what is happening.
Classic Joe.
Yeah, and
good old Joe.
He's no average Joe.
He's definitely no average Joe.
Oh man,
I mean,
might be able to
you think we're the
trademark
first?
that one.
Yeah, we should get on it.
Yeah, we should
fast.
trademark the saying "average Joe."
Well, in the context of JoJo, yeah.
You can do context trademark.
Context trademark. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty ridiculous and but funny. And they're falling, and then JoJo positions like he grabs Dio, and they're falling and positions him like to fall right on top of another statue. And the reason is there. He's like he knows the layout. Yeah.
And then the statue's like, oh, it was a guardian statue. And you're like, all right.
All right. I mean, yeah.
I did like this fight because this is we're seeing him fight full vampire.
Yeah.
Towards Joseph. That was entertaining. It wasn't like this was. I don't know if I want to say maybe my favorite fight of the two. I don't know, but it was good. It felt very what's the word? Satisfying.
Yeah, they both have their moments, but yeah, it's hard to say which one was like better because they both have their like shining moments, I think. But he's able to, once he stabs him, like fling himself out the window, and he's like passed out. Speedwagon saves him, takes him to the hospital, and then under the rubble, we find out that Dio survived because of
he's immortal.
Yeah.
Well, he's immortal, and he didn't like he says he survived by like a pillar fell, and he was able to like I don't know, hide under this pillar, or he gives an explanation as to why he was able to survive. And then the fortune teller man, the guy I think is the same guy who gave him the poison, right, or the whatever it was, digs through the rubble, finds him, and then like they fly off.
He scampers off. Yeah.
He does scamper.
He hops away.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a frog.
Which I don't know where you guys are on that, but like the idea of like, is that faster than if he has super speed and strength? Like, is it better to jump or
maybe this is like running?
Well, yeah, and I think it depends on how fast. I mean, we're talking speed, force, flash fast, or are we talking about just like depends?
I'm talking about having any sort of like
Talking about like
logic in
Twilight fast.
Twilight fast?
Yeah.
Twilight fast, I think if you could jump, because like in the first Hulk movie, he was jumping continents, I feel like.
Yeah. And like to like in between jumps, he would kind of like be like, this is pretty chill.
Yeah, he would the wind would be flowing.
Yeah.
through his CGI hair.
Yeah. It's really relaxing. It
It's
made me
beautiful.
want to jump.
Actually, I would rather jump.
Yeah.
Might
Get
as
a nice
well
cool
jump.
breeze. Yeah. Is that another song? That is Van Halen.
Ah!
Yes, dude. And speaking of
Wow.
Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, we meet another character. How do you do?
The Zeppelin.
William Zeppeli, who is very clearly named after Led Zeppelin. Cool character, love a Mad Hatter sort of vibe. Another author note in the back of the second volume is that like the mangaka was very worried about giving him a mustache because he felt like, I mean, even me, I look very dastardly right now. Like I don't look very
like I said, you look like you just tied a woman and put her on the train tracks,
Yes.
and you're like in a silent film.
And now
Yes.
for my next trick.
Yeah.
It looks like I have dynamite off camera.
You
Yeah.
do.
Very Dick Dastardly, actually. But you
Yeah,
know,
little Dick Dastardly.
I've used my Hamen to grow myself.
What? What the fuck does that mean?
Because of breathing, I've mastered the art of growing myself. I don't know, I like phrasing it that way. So
No.
it's the weirdest way.
Stop saying
Next time you
it.
have a boner, just say like, "I'm growing myself."
What is
What the hell are you talking about?
Hamen, dude, you don't know
Is this
anything
how you
about it.
recover from that?
Yeah, putting my whole foot in my mouth. He's a cool guy. He's a cool cat. I like him. I like him.
Yeah.
that sandwich looked really good.
Tasty.
Got a little hungry.
Yeah, very
I was like,
tasty.
It looks good.
And I kind of knew that this was going to be his like new master because of what I had seen before, and that he was going to train him. But I had no idea how this thing was going to work. And he cures Jojo's arm, and he teaches him about this like Hamen energy, this like style of fighting that uses ripples, and specifically, I think it's the oxygen. If you can, through breathing techniques, if you can like somehow harness that oxygen to speed your blood flow, then you can capture, like, it's the oxygen, the blood flow, and then the life energy.
And the
Kind of like
the
men.
pulses of the world and
The ripples, the pulses, everything. And it was, like I said, I like this thing. It's not super reminiscent of Fist of the North Star, but you know,
it's like it's chi, it's all
Yeah.
that stuff.
but it did feel a tiny bit similar. And he gives him a little demonstration on how to use it, and it's all about like mastering your breathing. And he sends ripples throughout this lake, and then like looks like he's gonna punch a frog.
I really like, yeah, they were like,
Jojo's like, the frog.
Yeah, I mean it's a frog.
The
dude.
frog.
I really liked when Jojo was like, can you show me how to do this? And he just punches him in the stomach. And I
Oh
was-
yeah.
yeah. And it turns out like that's how he like channeled it into him. But
Yeah.
I really like the idea of him just because he does that later to Speedwagon.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I was saying is played for a joke. Like he does the same
Yeah.
thing in Speedwagon, and he's like, "Oh, my finger slipped."
Huh?
Yeah, and it's just
He's
like,
not
okay,
worthy,
I
I
guess
guess.
Speedwagon's not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
I thought, oh well, he's gonna get it. He'll be able to do something,
Yeah. Nope.
or like it did work, and he just pretended it didn't, or something.
That would have been cool.
Would've.
He's able to like through this
He's able
demonstration.
to crush a rock in
underneath
between a
him.
frog without crushing the frog.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, behold,
Behold my power.
the frog harmless abilities of Harmon.
Harmon?
Hammond?
Harmon, yeah.
Harmon.
Harmon, yeah.
Harmony.
Harmony? Harmony. Music.
Harmony.
Life. I'm oh my God, Megan. I was gonna say I'm like what do you call it? Like
That was
yeah, that was embarrassing.
that
dude.
was visceral.
Yeah. And that's coming from a guy with a small penis over here. That was embarrassing.
Good God. Okay.
Anyway.
He does it to himself. You think me and Cody
We
joke
go-
around about it? No, Josh
Yeah.
does it to himself.
We stop,
And
and then he's like,
And
no,
then he's
do
like,
it
no,
more.
keep
No.
going, keep going. And
It's
then he
called
does it, and then
it's
he
called
says it.
owning, owning it. Not that, but like owning the insult, Maybe you take the fun out of it
No.
if you're like a mom on Facebook, you take the fun out of it for everybody else if you
Oh.
jump on board. And I do that sometimes. I get in on a joke, I get in on a riff, on a bit, and then you guys are out. You guys are done.
Yeah, which is a flaw on your end because you don't get the joke.
You don't get it fast
I get the
enough,
joke. The
though.
joke is that I'm a Debbie Downer. I kill the vibe. I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm putting my own spin on it.
Maybe you're putting your own ripples into it or something.
Or
Ah.
Putting your own Hammond.
Back to Hammond.
Yeah.
Some Hammond cheese.
Oh,
Ooh.
it does sound a little bit like hummus, huh?
I was thinking ham on.
Oh, okay.
Ham
Look,
on whole wheat.
he trains for a week. Jojo also like is able to like touch branches and cause flowers to bloom because the Hamen energy is flowing through him. It's also important to note that the Hamen energy we find out is the direct opposite power that the stone mask has. It is actually the same energy that is within the sun, apparently, and they're able to essentially channel the sun's energy through them.
So they can defeat
you know
them.
what? Fine. Yeah.
They absorb and redirect it, but the mask steals it from other people.
Mhm.
Yes. So they train for a week.
Actually,
and-
similar to a power structure in a fantasy book.
The Wheel of Time.
No, but close.
It's
Dare I
the
ask.
Wheel of
Fortune.
Time.
They say and by the way, in the book of Wheel of Time, they say the Wheel of Time every other page. They're like, it's the Wheel of Time. And I'm like, oh, that's probably why
It's probably why you couldn't get through it.
couldn't finish it. Very similar. Actually, this is similar to the Wheel of Time, because in Wheel of Time, they will spend a whole page devoted to a dress. And the dress just like they forget it. And then they like, oh, we lost the dress, but they really just describe
What do you mean
every.
forget the dress?
Like they'll spend like 2 pages describing a dress, and they go to load it up, and then it like on a wagon, and it falls off, and then they just keep going, and the dress was not important to the plot.
So it was never addressed again?
Was that all that?
Was
for
that? Did you
No,
have that?
kind
line?
of.
No, honestly,
that
I
was
just-
off the cuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Also, it's important to note too that when Jojo was in the hospital, Irina comes back. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah.
He's being
She comes
nursed.
And he's speedwagon trying to break in.
Yeah.
He's like, they won't let me see my beloved. I need to.
Yeah,
he's
he's jealous.
freaking out. He's freaking out. And then Irina's there, and then he's like, I hate her. She's stern, but she's beautiful, but I hate her. She won't let me in. And then he realizes that
It's his
she's
love.
helping him.
Yeah.
and he's
He's
like,
like, oh my God, look at those fingers.
Yeah.
it's not calloused. Or...
Oh,
no,
yeah,
they've
no,
been
they
washed.
were. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
Washed not hundreds, but thousands of times.
Yeah, she's wrung out the rag so many times. She's like giving herself blisters.
yeah.
Which I feel like could be a phrase.
It could be.
She's like, you
Yeah.
need one more sponge bath.
Yeah, I mean,
He's been here for 2 days, and,
then we
she's
also-
bathed him with sponge baths
Probably 1,000 times.
thousands of times.
And then we also like find out like kind of unnecessarily, I guess, like I like it wasn't it was like given, or it felt like it was given as like a reveal, but I was like, okay, like that Irina disappeared because her father like got a job in another country.
Yeah, no
and,
one
and was
was-
like in India or something, and then he just came back, and I was like, didn't really need that at
No.
all. Like she could have just showed up in the hospital, but whatever.
Yeah, I did like a Speedwagon moment where when he sees that, he just goes, I guess I'm not needed here. And he tilts his hat like he did something. And then
Yeah, like he did anything. Yeah. Which is, again,
all
Speedwagon
what he
in a
did,
nutshell.
he broke into a hospital so he could announce what was happening.
Yeah.
And then and now my job is done here. And he rode off into the sunset.
Yeah. I mean, good
I
thing
guess you
Speedwagon.
don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
It's like-
Looks like this old Speedwagon's going to hit the trail.
There you go. I mean, he's just a hoot, man. I do love him for how ridiculous he
yeah,
is.
yeah. His dialogue is every other time it was him that I was laughing at, and not a bad way. He's just he's a comical, theatrical man.
But after, the training and the branches and the blossoms and all that, the elixir Freddy Krueger man shows up. And Jojo's able to beat him pretty quickly, pretty easily. This was his part of his training, or like another thing
This is
he
Jack
needed to do.
the Ripper? Not yet.
No, this is like when the guy shows up, the elixir guy,
Oh,
who they just call the Chinese man. Like,
Yeah,
which-
I know.
That's why I'm like, why isn't he just? Oh yeah, we don't really have.
They
Yeah.
say they call him a name in the anime.
They call him names.
It's like Chow
Yeah.
something. I forget.
Oh,
what
Chow.
he's- Yeah,
I
so-
mean, they give him a name, but then most of the
Wang
characters
Chen.
for the
Yeah,
rest
something
of
like
the
that.
for the rest of the series just call him the Chinese man.
Yeah, but that's
Which-
just what they did back then. So
Yeah.
I'll give it that. You would
Which
call,
is why I've been dancing
Wang
around it,
Chen.
because I'm like, I refuse to just call him that.
yeah.
Wang Chan.
I
is
have
his
a
name.
I have a pun locked and loaded for that one when we get to it. So
Wang
Okay.
Chan.
yeah,
I feel like I might know, and
you
I'll
probably do know. Maybe you could join in for once.
May- okay, maybe you can say something funny
Ooh.
for once, and then I will.
Maybe.
Okay. Wow.
Damn.
So yeah, he comes up. He's beaten pretty easily, and there's times too when Jojo's like fighting like these people on the way to get to Dio, where I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, you're kind of like, I feel like you're kind of struggling a little too much. Like if you're gonna beat Dio, like you need to be kind of like powering through these guys.
Well, he kind of gets to. I mean, he doesn't really get to that point per se. I mean, I don't think he could have. He does end up fighting Dio again, but he had to go through those guys in order to get stronger.
Yes.
So I guess
And
it makes
then
sense.
they head to Win Knight's Lot, which is the setting that most of the rest of the series will take place in, which is an old city that knights used to train in, and is now just a town that a bunch of humble villagers live.
Like a town of like 400 people.
Yeah, small town, agriculture, all that stuff. There's like this again. They go into like really. Here's my thing. Again, I'm just saying it. It's just an observation, and it's just my humble opinion. But they give you exposition of the entire layout of this town. That there's a tunnel, that there's a sword, that there's a this, that there's a that. They walk you through like almost like every level of this town, and then literally on the next page, they go through that stuff. So it's like I didn't need all that explained to me. I could have just seen them go through it all. And the reveal that the sword was up there and what the sword ends up being, it's like that could have happened in the moment. I didn't need to be told about it.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just a thing that older fantasy stories liked doing.
Mm.
Maybe just like, let's make sure there's no question here.
Yeah, it was there from the beginning, but the beginning was just a page before. Anyway, then we see like Jack the Ripper, and we see like Dio, who looks like a little bit like Dr. Doom now. You know, he's in his hood, and he's got his like burnt up face. Yeah. And he's like being wheeled by, what's his name?
Wang Chen.
Wang Chan.
Wang Chen.
Wang Chen?
And
Wang Chen.
I thought it was Wang Chen. Wang Chen?
No, it's CH.
you know, him, the guy. And
Wang Chen.
he gives Jack the Ripper the choice and the power to live eternally. But it also seems as if, like, you know, obviously they become subservient to Dio, but they also retain a little bit of themselves.
The way I see it is like it just alters you to be loyal to him, but you do everything like what you would outside of that.
Yeah.
So you could take the way I assume, like, if you took like some farmer guy who was just like hanging out, he would just act like himself unless Dio needed him to act, unless his loyalty demanded he became villainous.
But, you know, you do see some people not go against him, but do things that he doesn't necessarily approve of. And so he just kind of kills them right away. Like when Dio was making those hybrids. Remember that? Mm-hmm. When he was putting like human heads on like animal bodies. And then one of them wouldn't stop talking, and he just like stomped on their head.
Well, I think that's from an experiment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that was disgusting. That was probably the worst thing I've seen in the 2 volumes.
I mean,
I was utterly shook.
Yeah.
And I was disturbed.
You wouldn't try that out? You wouldn't do that?
No. God, no.
It'd be kind of funny if I had Cody's head on like Monty's body. That'd be pretty great.
I mean, I would. I think I'd be a solid cat person.
Is that in Mars Attacks?
Yeah, it's on a dog.
Yeah, I hate that too.
Yeah.
I hate they equally look the same, and both times I get really grossed out. I don't know. I maybe have.
They stole that from Jojo, and I hope they know that. So then they're going through this tunnel, and then they confront Jack the Ripper, the gang, Zeppeli, Speedwagon, Jojo. And, you know, Zeppeli is actually like pretty badass in this moment. He's got his wine that he's like sloshing around, and he's very classy.
And bougie baddie.
Bougie, classy.
I like that there was a reason to doing that. Too. It wasn't just to like, that's his thing. It was like, oh, he can detect waves moving in the wine.
And Jack the Ripper was hides in a horse, like inside of a horse, which I thought was pretty graphic. Also, I was like,
metal.
I was kind of like, yeah, this is pretty metal. Like, I'm kind of into this.
Yeah, they're riding through the tunnels, and then like everyone just like the carriage driver loses his head, and they're like, what's all this then?
Yeah.
And then all the horses are dead, and then Jack the Ripper comes out of a horse, which means like he was like either he cut it up and then like jumped inside, or he was in the horse the whole time.
Yeah.
Whoa.
2 things that could be funny. If he was in the horse the whole time, or if he sliced the horse's head off and then just had to like wiggle his way inside.
Because that's how he comes out.
Yeah, he comes out, but his like face is right there. It's pretty funny. And I loved it. It was metal. But yeah, so then they fight him, and there's a reason for the wine glass. Zeppeli's like, I got this. He kind of like does wreck him a little bit, but not enough, because the sword ends up being like a lever that opens up a secret door, because these used to be training grounds, and Jack the Ripper escapes in the tunnel, or is like luring either Zeppeli or Jojo deeper. And so Zeppeli tells Jojo, like, take the wine. This is your test. You have to beat him. without
you can't
spilling a
beat
drop.
him, you can't beat Dio.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this does also feel
Speedwagon
like
is kind of like, I mean, is that really what you should be doing?
yeah.
Speedwagon's the only one that's like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
No, I mean he
It's-
desperately wants to do something,
but he can't.
but he can't. But he keeps commenting the whole time like, I wish I could do something, anything the whole time.
Please.
Please.
For the
This did
love
feel
of
like a little
God.
like, there was a moment like, I don't know if you guys ever saw Initial D, but there was like a very similar moment in Initial D where he's learning how to drive and he has to like, he has to drive and navigate down this very treacherous canyon. And he has to have a glass of, I think it could be just water or whatever, but he has to have a glass in his cup holder. And he's supposed to get down there in a certain amount of seconds and all these twists and turns. And if he spills a drop of the thing, then he's not. Yeah.
Something similar happened in Parasite. The
Oh,
movie.
it kind of did, huh?
Yeah, that's how he like tested the driver.
Yeah.
He was like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. I just drive around." But then
Yeah.
he's secretly holding a wine glass to see if he'll make him spill it.
great movie, dude.
Great movie.
Yeah, you saw it?
Great movie.
Fantastic. Yeah, so Jojo follows him in there and their fight was kind of cool. It was kind of short. It was just him realizing what the test was. And like you said, Cody, like figuring out that the ripples, he could sense them through the wine and then they would extend through his body and then they would extend through the floor and through the walls. And then he, finds Jack and yeah.
I liked one of the like epilogue like things that they had where it was like newspaper clippings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And one of it mentioned like, and it was I think like this is like real, right? Like eventually in the real world, Jack the Ripper story just stopped happening.
Yeah.
And so like in there, so they include like a news article like saying like, oh, and he disappeared on this night and we never saw him again. And I like the idea of like, oh, is this going to like incorporate like things like that happening into the story?
That is cool throughout history. Just like because like the Aztecs kind of, they did that with them as well. Like a real historical people that were just mysteriously wiped off the face of the earth. And then they give like a reason for that. I mean, that'd be cool if they kept doing that.
Which I thought they were. And then eventually like there's like 10 news clippings at the end. I'm like, all right, well, I don't believe that happened.
Yeah, I mean, who's this reporter, dude?
Yeah.
And also, where's he at?
And he's like, could there be a connection
Yeah.
between the 40 missing people and the mysterious new visitor who then died when
Yeah.
a new group came in?
I guess we
Give that guy
have
a
to
raise.
go on another bizarre adventure. Logging off.
the story JoJo's Bizarre Adventure actually follows that journalist.
reporter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Sex in the City. It's like Carrie, like on a blog, like it's just like
Or what's it like,
documenting all
Gossip
this
Girl,
shit.
like XOXO.
Yeah, XOXO, bizarre.
Bizarre. Yeah, that's when like, after that fight, Speedwagon is like, please teach me Haman.
Yeah.
Please. And, Zeppeli, at first he doubts him and he's like, you're not going to be able to do it. And then he's proven himself enough to the point where he's like, all right, I'll give you a little bit of my Haman or whatever, my energy. And then his finger slips. It's played as a joke, but I'm like, give this guy something.
Yeah,
I think
he's just dead weight at this point.
I think he
He is.
lied about his finger slipping.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he went, hamina, hamina, hamina.
Oh, wow, dude. And then we meet your favorite character's brother, Poco,
Poco.
who's a little hypnotized little boy.
Steals one of their wallets and then like on like a winch.
Yeah, that
and
was
then
sick.
Slides up.
Dude, I was laughing so hard. I was like, it makes sense now that he's hypnotized, but he was like he sees what these people are capable of. And he's just still talking shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, I always steal from people like you. And they're just like, okay. And
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. And he's
Yeah.
like, see, I still got your
Pulls his little ass out and starts
Yeah.
slapping it.
ass. He loves doing that.
Yeah, he does
Even
it a
if he's
lot.
hypnotized or
He
not.
does- yeah, that wasn't
Yeah,
hypnotism,
no,
dude. That was all him.
no.
He broke through just to slap his own ass.
He likes it.
Yeah, he likes it, dude. It's pretty, it's a pretty effective. Have you guys ever mooned anybody?
No.
I've been a little self-conscious of my ass to do it.
Even for the funny bit.
Yeah, even for the bit. I'm not to say
Yeah.
I'm not packing.
I saw
but
someone you're packing ass. You're not. We're gonna be honest.
I got way more
We'll,
ass
we'll
than
joke.
you do.
Okay, look, we joke about
Whoa.
your penis.
You want to have an ass off?
It's an ass off.
Call it an ass off. dude.
Otherwise
We
known
get
as a
some-
political debate.
Oh, I love it. I
My
love it.
God.
Never gets old to me.
What the fuck?
I did see someone get mooned once.
It's funny.
It was like-
it's so stupid. It's just the crudest joke you could. It's just
But
Yeah.
because it is like, I mean, all you did was expose your butt to because you don't want that. If someone pulls your pants down, you you're the victim, right? Because everyone can see your butt.
Right.
But like if you choose to do it, somehow you got them.
Yeah, because you're taking the power back, I guess. But like, what really is that? It's like you're asserting dominance by showing your ass.
Yes.
I mean, it is wild though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might need to stop because I need to think about that for a while.
You might need to stop mooning people.
No, I mean,
I might have to stop now.
Again, I never could. I wish I had the confidence, you know?
Damn.
I'm going to pull a flower.
Yeah. Yeah. Look.
That Josh magician boy.
He's always.
He's all ass.
He's all ass.
He's all ass. But yeah, he's hypnotized, you know. He's doing his thing. They realize he's hypnotized, and then they try to save him. And then it's Dio versus Zeppeli and the zombies. And then we find out like Dio has a secret move because Dio's been, I think, a week's time has passed.
Yeah, he's been gaining up his strength again. So like Zeppeli is like asks him, he's like, how many people have you killed like during this time? And he's like, how many pieces of bread have you eaten in your lifetime?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like that was a good line.
242.
That
It was a good line, but it was like, I mean, you have only been doing this for like a week.
Yeah, everybody's
he
been
kills
training for a
lot.
week.
He likes to kill and drink blood.
This was also the thing, like with Zeppeli, I am like, all right, the mentor character in a fantasy setting, they never survive.
Oh, never. Most definitely never.
I'm just kidding, I didn't read it. Wait, who died?
Wait, what?
I was talking about another fantasy
Oh,
You were talking about the band Led Zeppelin.
Oh.
Yeah.
whose music will never die.
That's exactly what you were talking about. But yeah, dude, I mean, he's got this new ability where he can freeze people, which is, you know, a cool counter to that ability. He can kind of, in a way, we were talking previously about freezing and heat and like even like Todoroki and like what that would actually mean, right?
Yeah,
the absence of heat is...
Yeah, you can't project cold. You absorb
heat.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of shocked to see, because when we were talking about it, it was hard to think of an example where they had done it, and they are doing a version of that here, I think.
Yeah. And vampires often, you know, they'll have cold ice magic. So yeah. And that's what he can, like, he can freeze water, which includes blood. And that's why then their powers are based on breathing and blood flow. So
yeah.
So the ultimate thing to fuck people up.
The ultimate thing.
To
fuck people up.
Yeah.
XOXO.
XOXO bizarre. So yeah, he you know, fucks up Zeppeli's arm, and you know, he's kind of out of commish for a little while, and then we're introduced to two brand new characters who I liked one of them a lot, but it's Dark Knight Bluford and Tarukas, the two like undead knights.
This is the thing I do know. The name situation was it was changed when the anime came out. Their names were like updated a little.
Why?
I don't know. Some probably copyright because all the characters are like some song or something. But like a lot of characters had their names slightly changed.
Oh, do you remember what it is in the anime?
It would be like he was Tarkus and then it was changed to like Tarukas or the other way around. But it was like they were just changed, and I think because one was like the other guy, the Bluford,
yeah,
and
Dark
was like
Knight
Blufford, you know, like, yeah, they just changed it for some reason.
They have a little traumatic backstory.
I really liked when stuff like what happens with the first one happens.
No, I liked their like story. I thought their story was like interesting, how they felt betrayal, and the battle of like the queens, Queen Mary versus Queen Elizabeth, and the trial of 77 rings or whatever. Which, you know, Shang-Chi got nothing on that. And I think it was cool because they were interesting characters, and they were I don't know, I kind of felt for them in this backstory more than I felt for any other besides Jojo and Dio. More than I kind of felt for Speedwagon, to be honest. I felt for these guys, or Bluford more than anybody.
That Bluford was like one of the highlights.
He really was. He really was. And they just, you know, tell their story, and then Bluford and Jojo are fighting underwater, where Jojo is incapable of breathing. I do like this about the series, is that they're always coming up with a way, or they're always having to come up with a way to hinder breathing, whether it's through, like you said, freezing things or having to fight underwater. But how Jojo's able to, at least underwater, win that round is because, is that true? I assume it has to be true that if at one point land was above water and then something happens that causes the water to rise, that there will still be rocks at the bottom of the water?
I'm assuming that's true.
I have to just assume.
Yeah.
He's still super strong, so he can just rip open an air bubble.
Yeah.
But I mean, the air bubble, would it be like, would the air
that for sure would happen.
Trapped and then it go on your head and he's like it's like a mask of air.
Yeah.
That was the thing where I just assumed the author like found out that interesting bit of trivia about like, oh, did you know like if it's like formed under like clay and coal, it'll form an air bubble? I was like, oh, I could probably do something with that.
That's another thing I want to say too. Like, it's very clear that he researched a lot of like cool things in nature and tried to apply them to his story and his characters. Like, I think even like there is some, maybe there are some practices that are similar to Haman, whether they're
just breathing exercises.
Yeah, breathing exercises. Also, I assume that underwater thing was real. And then the hair explanation about there being plants in the wild that can extend their leaves or their branches or whatever and retract them based on these like, I don't know, these like, they're
like cells or something.
There's some sort of cells. I mean, the name doesn't really matter, but it's just like this very scientific reason. And I thought that was really cool that he took the time to like say, like you said, Cody, like, oh, these are interesting facts. They'd work really well in a story. I mean, the name really doesn't matter.
Because I listening to like an author's podcast that he has, the Sanderson Pocket, because he talks about how like that's all he'll do. He'll like talk to an expert about something and they'll explain like, oh, did you know if you get shot, this will happen. So in my head, I saw that he found out that bit of trivia and reverse engineered a scene where Jojo got like stuck into a lake against an opponent and was like, oh, what could he do? Oh, he could. Oh, and then I know he could do this. And
which I do want to say that is, I think, how some of the most clever writing is executed. A lot of times, like when you see it play out in the order it's written, you think to yourself, like, how did they come up with this? But when you look at it from the angle of like it being reverse engineered, I think that's how a lot of these moments happen, right? A cool thing. And how do we get a character into that situation so this cool thing can happen?
And then you get two things. One, like, did the mother and the baby scene happen before or after this?
After.
Okay. And then two, and you see the first glimpse of this guy's like still inherent sense of like honor, where he gave Jojo like the option to like, I'm going to let you try to get air because I'm wearing armor. And I don't have to breathe, but I'm going to move slower. And so he's still like, even though he's being mind controlled.
Yeah. And when they get out of the water, he's like so impressed by his fighting spirit that because he's like not going to use his sword underwater. And then he's so impressed when they get out, he's like, I'm going to fight you as a warrior, like with honor. And I'm going to give you like he's very impressed by, I think, Jojo, even hypnotized.
Spirit.
Yeah. Or as a undead.
And I think
warrior.
that's why like the danger in this hypnotism works, but you keep your personality because he was hypnotized to kill Jojo, but his personality was someone who like wouldn't fight someone on uneven like footing.
Yeah. And I think the hair thing is cool. How his hair can come and like wrap around people, and it can. I guess it can suck your blood. The hair was like sucking his blood, and then Jojo's able to like use his other arm to put Haman into the hair, and he's able to like defeat him in that round. Like,
I like the concept of how that fight was resolved. Where like as he like killed, like he could still regenerate too, but as he's killing him, he's like it's cutting out the parts that are brainwashed. And then like by the end he's like, thank you. All right, I'm going to go now.
Yeah, because he goes to swing his sword at him, and then Jojo's just like, he's like, why aren't you fighting back? And I was like, that was a cool scene.
That was cool.
It got resolved in a way that was satisfying. And then fucking Speedbag, it's like, he has no more malice. He's looking at him like a son would look at his father.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, he would say
talking about.
He said exactly that. He said it, and then he shows his face, and he's like smiling all like innocently.
I mean, it's like he's writing a book on the sidelines, dude.
Honestly, if they just had him hold a notepad,
yeah, dude,
I would have had like it wouldn't have been
he's
annoying.
logging it.
If he was like, get to a future where there's like a recording device.
Yeah. Because he's the way he's talking is just like Megan said. It's like he's looking at him like a father. I mean,
like a father upon a long lost child.
Yeah.
And they both just sort of look at him like, what the hell is this guy with? He's my friend.
He's my friend. Oh, you guys are childhood friends? I met him like a couple days ago.
He tried to mug me and I beat him up.
Yeah. But he really respects me.
He really loves me.
No, Speedwagon's great. Then he gives him his sword. Yeah, his honor is restored, and he gives him his sword that says luck in it. And then he uses his blood to write a P. Then it means pluck now. Pluck and luck is how the sword is used.
It's courage.
Yeah.
And luck.
Yeah. What exactly does pluck mean?
Courage.
It's like you're plucky. Yeah, I guess it could mean courageous, right?
Yeah, that's what it said, like luck, and then it was like luck means luck, and then I was like pluck, and it was like courage. I was like, oh, because I was like, what the fuck is a pluck?
I think it's like when someone's plucky there. I always imagined pluck meaning
I think
like
it's scrappy courage.
Yeah, like you're kind of scrappy. Yeah. Scrappy Doo. He was kind of plucky. How are you? He was very plucky. And so, yeah, he gets his sword, and look, the sword is of great importance. Oh, I'm sorry, Cody.
He didn't like that, I guess.
I'm sorry, Cody. Really... When I throw out something and it doesn't land, it stops the whole podcast. But every other
little jab,
every other word you guys toss out.
All right, no, you know what? No, I'll do your version of that.
Okay. That's pretty good. I love it.
This is the worst part. I have no way to. He likes the joke, so I can't. By doing it to him,
it's like the small Peters thing. Dude. Hear me out. I didn't mean to stop the energy.
Wait, this is what you do.
Cody created the okay to like make fun of me okaying his jokes. But then it became so funny to me that I started doing the okay in his voice, and it just became this even funnier thing.
And I keep trying to exaggerate it, but then he goes, yeah, like that.
Yeah. It became its own thing. I loved it. I miss it. We should bring that back.
Okay.
And yes, the Scrappy Doo connection was bad, but I'm just trying to get in on the pun fun.
Okay. You had a solid one with the sword and what you said, like he had the
what?
I don't know.
You can't even remember it. It was so good you can't even remember it. It was so funny.
Sword?
That you can't even remember it. Anyway.
On a cord?
Hey! What the fuck is that bullshit? I said plucky means scrappy like Scrappy Doo.
No, dude.
And you said you just rhymed?
Yes, exactly.
Because this is absurd. This is absurd.
It's bizarre.
It is bizarre. And now we're finally mad. It's ridiculous.
It's not.
Like sometimes I see people go, and I'm like, for what? And then I make an honest attempt and it flops. But anyway,
can you stew another one up? Like
I'll pepper another one to make up for the scrappy.
Anyway,
I'll go through this episode when it's done, and I'll point out to you the part that I appreciated.
I doubt you will, but thank you for saying
that. It's like chord. You said something that rhymed. The thing you said. we're
getting off. Anyway,
Poco, right? He's getting bullied by like these people in his village.
Yeah, he's getting
And then he's like, "You're a liar." It's like a total Usopp move. And then the other guy, what's the big guy's name?
Tarukas or
Tarkus, he like rolls him up like a taquito, man.
Yeah, rings him out.
That was pretty.
I was under the impression those are the members of the gang that he like does work for. Because they were like, "Oh, did you get them on in?"
Yeah.
Or maybe there's people who've bullied him into working for them.
Because he kind of is just like a bull. He gets bullied a lot.
Yeah, there's even like flashbacks of him being picked on and stuff. But they're destroyed. The thugs are destroyed, right? And then they're on this cliff. Poco now, Jojo, Zeppeli, Speedwagon. Tarukas or whatever his name is crumbles the cliff. They fall on a wall. And then he jumps down, and to escape from the wall that they're on, Zeppeli and Jojo like use the magnetism Hamen to gather all the leaves and create a glide, some sort of like wind glider out of leaves. And hey, I was kind of there for that too. I thought, okay, all right. I mean, it's just, that's a little bizarre. That's a little silly. And it was fun. I did not expect that to happen. No. I expected them to make some sort of shield out of leaves, but they just made a hang glider out of it instead.
They got out of there.
They did get out of there, but then they end up landing on this like tower. And basically everything that happens just leads them into the tower. It leads Tarukas into the tower, and it leads Jojo into the tower. And then Zeppeli, Poco, and Speedwagon are stuck outside.
Mm-hmm.
Then we find out that it's like this old torture chamber where there's this game where they're which is also, if this is like any kind of sort of based on something real, this is awesome because it's like chains from 2 points of the ceiling, and it looks like they're one chain, and they have collars on them, 2 opponents. So if one person pulls on one collar, their other collar gets shorter. So the length is like distributed.
Honestly,
if
that
you're
doesn't.
Gonna die,
Yeah, it does not sound too far fetched for human evolution. I feel like that was definitely
seems pretty lit.
a thing.
I feel like I've seen something similar to that in a game that took place in a medieval setting.
Mhm.
That might be based on. That's probably like what you two decide who gets to. You guys fight over who gets to live.
That's really cool. I mean, that's kind of like the original Saw when you think about it, dude.
Yeah.
Because like they even had the key on the other collar and everything like that.
Yeah, you're gonna play a game. Confess that you're magic. And if you're not a wizard, you'll die. Well, if you are a wizard, this won't kill you.
Yeah,
if you
and
are-
then we'll
yeah.
kill you if we find out you're a real.
So if you
wizard.
survive this, then we'll kill you.
Then we'll kill you. So
Yeah.
either way,
But if you don't die, we will apologize.
Yeah, we'll apologize right before we execute you.
right
Yes.
before we kill you for real.
The last thing you hear will be an apology. They have a cool fight, and this is a cool device where they're like chained up and everything. But Speedwagon is freaking out outside. Like he's losing his mind, banging on the door. Zeppeli can't get in because Haman can't travel through steel.
Yeah,
I guess it's living inner life energy.
He's also like trying to beat down the door, and then they're just trying to find a way to get in. And I did like this part with Zeppeli and like how we met Tom Petty.
Tom Petty.
Tom
yeah.
Petty
Yeah.
now, and he's like this. I don't know where they were, but he taught him basically. That's where we get that flashback where he's like, "Where did you learn this power?" And then he's like, "It all started when I was on a boat as a young man."
Yes.
And then he learns the Haman, and
his dad was one of the stone face
his
wearers.
dad was one of his dad was one of the stone face wearers, and that's why he wanted to learn it so he could do his thing and kill and ruin it. And then now he has like this death like prophecy.
They told him like if you leave to go do this path leads to your death.
Yeah.
Or you could just not go. And you'd have a different path set for you.
Which I thought was cool.
I thought
it was really cool.
I liked how that all played out because it was just like a little nice touch for his character. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because in every other prophecy story, the guy is telling the other person like, this is your destiny. But here he's like, this is your destiny if you do this. But if you walk away now, none of this is
We
gonna
could
happen.
just hang out.
Yeah, we could just hang out, have a good time, play some video games.
I like the question was like he's like, if I go down that, will I contribute to like stopping it? And he says yes. Like, well, then I'll go.
I love the idea of like prophecies and how they're given, because it could be like you could be doing the most average thing ever, but then like through the words of prophecy, like how they mask certain phrases, like for this prophecy, he's like, there will be an ancient room and a child will unlock the door to free the lion from its cage. I just imagine like if I were going to a fortune teller and they were going to ask them like, how do I die? And let's say like I choke on cereal or whatever, but they're like, a silver spoon, and the wheats of the land.
You will reap what you sow. The wheats, the wheel.
The wheel is Cheerios.
You will suffocate under the wheel of man's labor.
Yes.
And it tastes like cinnamon.
Yes.
Do not cheers yet, my friend.
Yeah.
Your time will come.
Yeah. After being stuck in a maze, and there's a maze on the back of the box, of the cereal box.
Anyway,
don't fall
Cheerio.
for its tricks.
Cheerio.
Oh, tricks!
They were both solid.
We both that one. Yours is better.
They were both solid.
You will follow the captain. And you will lead to your crunch.
Yes, dude. Yes. I just think it's funny just how you can phrase prophecies, dude. Maybe we should do that.
We need to do a whole cereal prophecy.
whole cereal prophecy. Oh man, but yeah, he gets the prophecy. His dad died of the stone mass, so he's like fueled to defeat it.
His dad also killed like the entire boat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
almost-
was crazy.
Almost killed him, but the sun just managed
Yes.
to rise.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Very traumatic.
Very, very.
Yeah, totally. Like very
That
traumatic.
was
for
super
him.
traumatic.
Then we get like a little bit of backstory on like Poco and Poco's sister and his child. Poco's been bullied his whole life, and his sister, dude. I mean, his sister, well, I guess is like a dope older sister. I mean, that's tough love if I've ever seen it. He gets his ass beat by bullies, and she's like, "What's worse, to get your like ass beat as a child, or be a grown up who can't do anything for himself?"
I
And she like
mean-
slaps him across the face.
She had a very, I liked her speech.
No,
No,
yeah.
I mean, I kind of did too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah,
She's
the
a
whole
badass.
thing of like, I'll be brave tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's like, tomorrow, will you though?
When will tomorrow come?
But then she's
and
like, let's go get some food. I won't tell
Yeah,
dad.
yeah.
She's, she's cool.
She is
And
cool.
then I like the childhood flashback in situation like that, where then because now it's like, well, that gave him that. Now he like he went through the thing that the other two guys couldn't get through that crack.
Mhm.
I like
And
that
he's like,
Poco.
Today's tomorrow.
Today is tomorrow.
And
yeah.
he's like, he's fucking wet ass pants. He's just pissed.
Oh, he pissed himself.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah,
you
he
hate when
did.
that happens when you just realize that like an hour later that you pissed yourself? I
I
pissed my
never-
pants earlier.
Oh, gee whiz.
whiz. It's never really a lot of pee though, you know.
Which is interesting. Like when you pee yourself, it doesn't look like that much. But when you pee in a ball, you're like, wow, that's a lot.
No, it's a
When
lot of
When you
piss.
pee in a bed, have you ever peed in a bed? And
Suddenly you drank an entire pool.
you get up and it looks like your whole body is like
Yeah.
imprinted in the mattress. Yeah, it's just like a yellow
Oh
murder
my
scene.
God.
It's like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every other day too.
yeah. I mean, it's like how many times my sheets can't handle it. They're falling apart. I'm washing them so much. Hypothetically,
Yeah, I was like, or you're
In
not.
theory.
in this bit.
Ew.
But yeah, so he crawls through. It's his day, bro. When he crawls through that window too, Poco gets fucked up.
He gets immediately fucked
Yeah.
up. They go, no, don't let him in. He's gonna get killed. He just drops, and then he goes, "Nyah," and then he just throws him.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the lever and just bangs his head because he's paralyzed, like
Yeah.
from the fucking neck down. That scene was crazy.
I
I
thought
did-
he was gonna die.
Yeah.
I did like Zappelli realizing the problem, like putting
Oh,
it together in that
was
moment. Like
a great part.
like him like realizing like, oh, like a child will pull the lever and that's literally what's happening in a cage line. So that's the metaphor. So
Yeah, but that's another thing, I guess, is that prophecy and metaphor was a little too on the nose. You know, like it was very literal. Everything was happening. So it's like it still was fun. But I mean, it was like the a lever. That's the, you know.
I
what
kind
mean?
of
Like,
liked it because he could have, like we were saying, like he could easily just be like, okay, that's happening and that's happening. I'm gonna peace out.
I have to go actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could just easily be like, I need to go, like at any time. But he went,
Yeah.
no, I know this is my death. I need to do this.
I think
No, I
that-
like that.
yeah,
I like that.
That
yeah.
that is a really cool concept for like a character to experience of like, oh, this is when I die.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that. I'm a huge fan of that. Just to,
Yeah, I don't know another example of it, but
well, I mean, we do talk about it in Gantz. Like, I love the moments before someone knows they're about to die. I just find that so fascinating of like, as like a character study, like what is that character going to do in his last moments? I think they're going to be their most real self. And I always love to see
It's like
that.
a Death Parade.
Yeah, a little bit like Death Parade. I love
Uh-huh.
Death Parade too. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
We should watch that. But
I haven't seen it.
that's what I'm saying. It's
We should
fantastic. It's like
watch it.
Saw, but in the afterlife, in like
We should watch the first
purgatory or
episode.
whatever.
We haven't watched the first episode together?
Nope.
It's
Oh.
great. Watch Death Parade. So Zeppeli goes in, pretty much facing his death
No.
Parade.
parade. Yeah,
Facing his black parade.
facing his Black Death parade. Yeah,
Well,
it's like My Chemical Romance and whatever you said combined. But he gets sliced in.
what that is.
Cody. I'm combining the anime with My Chemical Romance. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. But yeah.
Cody, dude, it's like keep up.
You were wrong.
And you'll be a phantom blood.
Do they say that in the song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No freaking way, dude.
Yeah. And
No freaking Gerard way, dude.
Oh,
That was good.
that was
Fuck
good.
you
No, that
guys.
was good. That was good.
No, you got no reaction. It got no
Because
reaction.
you reacted before
Maybe because
I
I said
could
fuck
react.
you after I
Yes,
said it.
exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We want
call-
to give
we
you.
paused.
We want to give you love,
And then you went,
Josh, and you
"Fuck
completely,
you."
yeah, shriekingly.
You guys don't think I'm funny? Don't think I'm funny? And you
I'm
I
calm.
didn't do this just as good as you.
I'm calm.
Are you
I'm calm.
are you
I'm calm.
calm? You're pretty red, dude.
I'm full of calm right now.
Oh my god.
This hat is hot too.
Josh.
Anyway,
It was good.
yeah. So he dies. He gets sliced in half, dude.
Dude, that was graphic.
It was very graphic.
I was like, oh my God. It was kind of sad, honestly. It was really sad. I knew he was going to die then, but it was just immediate, He didn't really do much.
I mean, what he did do was, he gets sliced in half, and like you said, it's awful. But what he does do is
from the waist.
Yeah, and then what he does do after he gets sliced, which he has enough, in him. He has enough in him.
I can, I'm here for any story. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief as much as you need me to. But he when he's split in half, I can see how he's still very alive and conscious. But then he gives all of his life and hum and energy to Jojo. And then I'm thinking, okay, now he's dead.
No.
But then moments pass and he's still Jojo goes off with this new life energy to defeat Tarukas or whatever. And however long that takes. And then I'm thinking man, R.I.P. Zeppeli, And then he's still alive. And he's alive enough to give a whole goodbye speech.
And
I like this. It was like I had a best friend and a son all in one. I was like, you just met this guy.
Man, he's a charming guy, Jojo, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense that he's a little alive because he could, heal his wounds.
But not without all. He gave him all of his life energy.
Yeah,
That's
all
what
of
I'm
it.
saying.
That makes sense. You're completely right.
That's
he
the
did
only
just
little
leave a
hang-up I
little
had.
bit.
I'm just gonna keep
for
a
his
bit
last
so I can
moments.
get one more speech.
yeah. And then Speedwagon gets the hat. Speedwagon, that's probably the most he does. Is take Zeppeli's hat and carry that torch. Not in strength, but in spirit. And then we catch up with Poco's sister and what's happening. And that's when we get the scene of Dio right before Poco's sister, Dio with the woman and her baby, which I thought this was awesome.
That was berserk shit.
It was berserk shit.
One of the darkest things.
No, literally what you she turned into what she was trying.
Well, that's why I thought it was so
from.
awesome, dude, because even in in Arlong Park when we're Nami and Arlong and he's manipulating her I'm not gonna I'm gonna stay true to my deal, but that doesn't mean that the Navy can't come in and take what I mean, these clever outs. I loved that this one was I swear to God I won't kill your baby, I swear to God I won't do it. But you're saying I can turn you if I don't harm the baby, and he's like, are you sure? I could turn the baby too, and she's like, no, leave him alone. And then he turns her, and then she's a zombie, and she fucking rips
bites into its
baby.
face.
Yeah.
Bites into the baby's face. I was like, oh, that's what we're doing.
And they show it pretty much everything.
Yeah, it is very graphic.
Super.
Very, very graphic.
And then we see Poco's sister, and Poco's sister's in there with Snake Man guy.
Well, Dio's talking to her a little bit first, and she gives him a little slap. And
Yeah.
that's when we get the nasty cat thing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna give you to my friend here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old.
Who rips her dress off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very berserk.
This
vibes.
this
Yeah.
story really dipped into a dark.
No, it was dark.
Yeah. These do remind
Like a
me of
rainbow.
apostle-esque characters.
Like a rainbow in the dark.
In the dark, yeah.
Is that another song?
Yeah.
Not only is it a song, it's a Dio song.
It's a Dio song.
Oh, wow. For real?
Yeah.
Ride the Tiger.
I don't know how you guys know this.
Oh. Okay, sorry.
That's not a diss. I'm impressed. At the same
thanks.
time, Jojo
Thank
comes
you
across
so much.
Dyer, I think is his name.
Dire.
And then the other guy's name is Straits. Dire Straits.
Dire Straits and Tom Petty, basically.
Tom Petty, and then
Yeah.
his gang of heartbreakers.
Yeah, dude.
Mhm.
I need you guys for this, dude.
Yeah,
Because,
Yeah.
I really like how this author likes music that I like,
yeah.
because I'm like, oh, cool. This will all come into play now.
You pick up on all these too, because I when I see a name, I have to think about how it relates to. Zeppeli's obvious, but
Yeah, I pick up on some.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can hear a song and be like, oh, I know this song, but I can't be like, oh, I know exactly who plays this.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at names.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the pod, but Megan is the only person that listens to any of the music I like, and it not that much of it, but it is
I don't listen actively to the music that you like, but if you put on a couple songs, I bet I know.
Yeah, it's just no one that I'm friends with likes the same. I only like that music.
Yeah, you exclusively like that, and that's charming.
No, it's just I'm just closed minded.
I respect that, dude. I respect that a lot.
And don't you ever forget.
And then we see the gang, the new gang, the Heartbreakers. Is that what you call them? They fuck up the Snake Man. Jojo uses his Hamen from Zeppeli to turn the snakes against the Snake Man, so that the snakes will bite him.
Yeah, and Jojo dropped an anvil on its head right before,
Which
I really liked. It was like, oh, and you're gonna eat your own mother, and this beast man will have its way with you, and then like a cartoon.
Yeah. And then there were like birds flying around his head after.
Yeah, I did like the Venom thing where he's like, oh, I bit you. And they're like, it's venomous snakes. And he's just like, and he flexes and it like, the poison's out. It's so funny.
It was hilarious. Like Jojo's face. And it just like squirts out of him. Yeah. And they kind of get through that guy pretty easily. And then Jojo barges through the doors to get to Dio. And Dio's surrounded by all these other zombies, and I for a moment thought like, please don't make him go through all of those zombies. Like, please just let them.
I know.
Because it was like, as much as I did like Bluford and Tarukas, Bluford more, obviously, it's like, let's get there,
The other zombie goes, and I have my own background and was, well, who was I but a fisherman and a lonely.
Exactly. Which to that point, just bringing up that, there might have been like a fisherman guy. I did also think it was really cool that there was just like a normal appearing villager.
Oh yeah.
And Poco was like, we got to make it back to town. Dio said it was only going to take a night to turn everybody into zombies. And then they see a guy and he's like, your sister's going to beat the shit out of you if you don't get home. And he's like, everything's still the same. And then his tongue comes out and it's revealed that he's already been turned. I did like that moment as a twist, I guess. But yeah. So then now it's finally Jojo and Dio. But before Jojo and Dio fight, Dyer comes in and wants to take a stab at it because he's like, if you think you have revenge on the mind, he's like, I have it even more so. I knew Zeppeli for 20 years. He was my everything, my mentor. Yeah.
Makes sense. That relationship makes sense.
Yeah. You think that they made
it makes sense that he would be that upset and like passionate about it.
Oh yeah, for 20 years.
Yeah. That's what I'm just saying. It's just like they all met and they're all like,
yeah, they're giving each other's lives up.
Didn't they also pretend to be zombies?
I don't think so.
Because I remember like there was a guy with like a long tongue that came out, and then Jojo like fought him off for a bit, and he goes, "Oh, by the way, we knew Zeppeli. I just wanted to test your strength."
Oh yeah, that's the group.
Yeah, they didn't pretend to be zombies necessarily, but they did pretend to be enemies, I would say.
Yeah, he goes, "I'm a human. Just wanted to mess with you." Like, why are you doing that in these times?
So
no need for
ridiculous.
A joke. No need. Don't test people. Just help them out.
Time is literally of the essence. Yes. And you're playing a game of make-believe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like, okay.
So Dyer uses this technique because he goes in, where his like move is like he'll, channel the Hamen through his legs and then all the time
do the splits right in your face.
Yeah. Crotch first. Love that move. Do it on me. You know what I mean? And he'll always be defeated that way. Like people always block his legs, spread him wide open. But his counter to that with Jojo headbutted him. But this time, when he's facing Dio, he crosses his arms because he's going to use this like slicing motion. And of course, Dio freezes him instantly and shatters him as if he is just nothing.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
And then he like spits a rose into his eye.
I like that. Like that. And he goes, I guess Hamen is a good I don't know what he said. He goes, roses infused with Hamen cut the hardest, don't they?
Very poetic.
Just crazy.
Very poetic.
Yeah. Everyone, they don't miss with their speeches.
Yeah, I mean, right on the money.
His last words. His last final words.
But it gives Jojo the idea. He's like, oh, I can, because he infused it with Hamen.
Great.
He's like, I could infuse my sword with Hamen and be able, that's how I'll be able to defeat Dio and not have to touch him.
Smart.
Dude, and this was crazy, dude. He slices through Dio. Like, it cuts him almost all the way in half.
All the way in half. Pretty much halfway. All the way in half.
And I was like, this is it. And Dio was like,
he won. That's
he won.
Yeah,
and Dio was like, close, but not close enough. And I was like, oh.
Oh my God.
Because he can have like his individual blood vessels as tentacles.
Yeah.
He like puts himself halfway, but it's not exact. He has to like bang it with his head to like.
Yeah.
lock it into place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just keep going. They're zombies, people are fighting, and then eventually
Those, by the way, those ancient monks really didn't do as much as I thought they were going to do.
Oh, nothing at all.
No.
Yeah, they just kind of served. They really did. It was just nothing wrong with this. They served to keep the gang occupied during Jojo and Dio's fight.
Yeah.
The one panel that I think was super cool. Again, the art is really amazing.
Yeah.
Especially in this like third volume, it's even probably better than it's ever been, at least at this point in the story. But there's that one panel where like Dio, he's draining Jojo's life essence, reaching into his neck, and then he kind of like pulls his hands out, and he's got a vein like wrapped around his finger. Like that was like hard for me to read because it just crawled under my skin a little bit too. But then yeah, ultimately, Jojo's like comeback or his secret technique or the trick he had up his sleeve was pretty cool, I think.
His muscle bound sleeve.
Of his muscle bound sleeve, yeah.
Those interesting lines.
What does he have planned in his muscle bound sleeve?
Just Wang Chun looking over like, what are you?
What are you
He's
talking
like,
about? I mean,
it's not just about possessing him, is it?
His regular sleeve.
I wish I could see up more than just that muscle bound sleeve. Possibly.
For all the tricks up there.
Yeah,
up his pants sleeve.
He's probably got tricks up his pants too. Take them off.
Who knows?
Up
Let's test it.
Those tree trunk thighs.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Haha, yes.
Yes, Jojo. Now, completely naked, what will you do?
Now, Jojo, look in the mirror. Tell me what you see.
Yes. I've never respected you more. But he's instantly like Jojo's frozen. But the way he's like cut through Dio and positioned his blade to be by a fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so the tip of the blade is in the fire. It's heating up the sword, thereby heating up his hands, which works to make a connection. And then it's not enough. So he like sets his fists on fire.
Bruh.
And then Hamins the fuck out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And you think Dio's gonna be dead again.
This is really the point reading where I'm like, come on.
Right. I know.
I know. I was like, I literally wrote, I was like, oh yeah, I want to say he's dead by this point, but I have no idea. And then the next panel, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
And Speedwagon's
You have to
like,
be joking.
He still lives.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Which was crazy because Dio's like, I just gotta chop my head off, I guess, to survive. Which I don't have a problem with it, but I am just like, just fucking die already.
No. He's got a plan.
And then also like we're shown here, and it'll be important later that Dio now has also like eye beams, like Superman beams.
I don't know what vampire thing that is because I get like vampire like hypnotism.
Yeah,
but he has lasers that come out of his eyes.
Yeah, I guess it's in the Eye of the Beholder.
Well, in the manga, it was
that was really solid.
In the manga, it's described as a fluid, but in the anime, it looks like a energy beam.
A fluid.
That's better than I thought it was going to be.
Honestly, I had no faith. And then, like, you really pulled something out there.
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
But we think it's the end. The heroes think it's the end. They break the mask. They think Dio's dead, I think. They break the mask.
They're like, surely.
They're like,
yeah, they break the mask pretty easily. I thought this was
just
something
like
that couldn't be,
no.
you know, I thought that it couldn't be broken. It was like one of those, like the mask. Like the mask.
Oh, the mask. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that was easy.
Yeah. Shattered. The reporter, is lurking somewhere, reporting on everything.
4 strange men broke a mask and then left. Are these events connected? I guess we'll never know.
XO. And then,
Bizarre.
and then you think it's the end. You think we're just tying up all the loose ends. Jojo and Arena get married. Speedwagon is like on the way to their to see them off on their honeymoon to America. And when he's approaching the boat, which everybody's waiting to like see them off, he like gets hit by a coffin, which should be like a huge red flag. And
that guy's like next to Speedwagon says like, it sounds like something's alive in here.
Yeah.
And Speedwagon goes, what a rude guy to bump into.
I mean,
I have to see my friends off.
It's been like what? What's the time skip? I mean, it's
I don't even know.
a couple,
that long.
Like a month.
Maybe. I don't even think it was that long. But anyway, they get this like mysterious casket onto the boat, and they sail away. everybody says their goodbyes. They wave goodbye, and now it's Jojo and Arena on the boat, and they're having a nice dinner. And out of nowhere, Jojo sees
Wang
Chun, right?
Chun, yeah.
And sees him and is immediately horrified.
Immediately tells her what she should do, by the way.
Yeah. Please go to your room. Do not come out.
Yeah. And she does that. She does all of that.
Yeah,
No, she sits there and goes, nothing. What is bothering him so dearly?
I gotta go see what's up.
I should follow him.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, I don't know what their relationship is, but wouldn't you be like, Arena, you got to hear the story. You got to hear what I've been doing the past couple of months. Like he tells her nothing.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would tell anybody that because, first of all, maybe no one's going to believe. Well, also
you have people to back you up on your adventure.
But I don't think he wants to involve her. But
he's also magic. He has magical abilities.
But that's what I was thinking. I was going to say like he shouldn't it makes sense to me that he wouldn't tell her. But she was there for the Zeppeli demonstration. She was there for the frog thing, so she saw that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like maybe she doesn't even know he has these abilities.
No, she saw she saw when he saw.
Yeah, So I guess he should. Maybe he was getting to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been important. Be like, hey, remember that story I told you? Yeah, those bad guys are here now, so I need you to go and hide.
It's a lot, right? To be like, remember Dio, that guy who like sexually assaulted you? Yeah, he's a vampire. Now, really hard to hear.
We chopped his head off and threw him down a castle he took over.
Yes.
And we crushed his magical stone mask.
Yes.
But we don't.
I have the strangest feeling.
Yeah. And Arena, everything should be fine. I'm 99.9% sure we're going to be fine.
Even being immortal, it's daytime.
Number one. We're on a boat.
He doesn't have a physical body.
We're on a boat. Nothing bad happens on a boat.
Yeah, there's no land. What's he going to do?
Vampires can't cross moving water.
It's a well-known fact.
Everyone knows it.
Everybody knows it. But sure enough, they find the guy. And this is where, if it ever was bizarre, it's truly bizarre at the very end where, I mean, essentially, like, there's a reverend who drops a thing on a casket and that's what opens the casket. That's really not that important. But it's essentially Jojo versus Dio's floating Futurama head.
But and it was this feeling of like, I mean, not only did you just fight, this isn't like this took place in like 10 chapters later. This just happened.
I know.
And then he fights, and then he immediately loses to somebody with less like strength than when you fought him the first time.
Way less, dude. He's got 90% less body.
Yeah,
this time. Yeah, which is wild. But he immediately uses his beams to kind of pierce Jojo's neck
and
hands. Arena's seeing everything happen, but now Jojo can't breathe, so he can't use Hamen, but he's got enough Hamen left to defeat the elixir guy. And
mind control him, which jump into the turbine.
Yeah, which is a new ability.
Yeah,
would have been very handy.
Would have been very helpful.
Couple weeks ago.
For the zombies to stop terrorizing people and killing and everyone on the boat. He could have used that on as well, but everyone.
But
else
I don't think
died.
he couldn't have saved them necessarily. But he can control them. But he can't unzombie them.
No, they're already gone. But I mean, just helping out.
Yeah, and
the ones that were alive, he could have forced the zombies to jump off the boat or something.
Yeah.
And Dio's like, I'm going to take your body because I respect you so much, and that's when you get the line.
I've done a complete 180. I see you now as like an equal that I respect and that I admire,
which is it's one. If someone beat you so bad you no longer have a physical body anymore, to say that we're equal now.
Yeah.
Now
you know what?
You've proved that you're equal to me.
Yeah. I really underestimated you as like a floating head. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take your body. And he does say, like if you like just let it happen, it'll be painless. That's what I'll offer you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, there's like 1 point for you.
Yeah, still, I mean, it was just crazy, man. Again, it was fun and silly, and I was enjoying the silliness of it and the absurdity of it, but the elixir guy stops the turbine, which is going to make the ship explode, and, Dio is like Spider-Man with his hair and his veins just like coming out everywhere, and Jojo
has to keep taking hits that we're going to hit the girl because she just like will not leave.
Yeah, she won't leave.
Shrapnel in his back and everything. And then he sees a woman who was killed and a baby, and she's like, "You got to save the baby, Irina. You got to get out of here." And conveniently, Dio is also having a speech about his boudoir and how it can survive the blasts of TNT.
Oh yeah, it was like, and after I take over his body, I will then go into my lovely velvet boudoir.
Yeah.
Handcrafted in the...
If we can call, first of all, I love the word boudoir. And if we can just call anything boudoirs, then my room is a boudoir.
Yeah, a coffee's not a boudoir.
A coffee's not a boudoir?
Yeah, I'm my
How
lovely...
absurd. That was the most bizarre thing of the whole manga.
And I love, in the manga, it's kind of, you didn't really see it as much, but in the anime, like, Irina and Jojo are having this moment. They're embracing, they're kissing. She's like, "I'm not going to leave you. Like, you're going to die. We're going to die together." And during this whole time, Dio's head is just up.
Just sort of staring at them.
And he's just like, "Anyway."
Yeah, he's like, okay.
Yes,
seriously.
enjoy. You'll be together with him after I go into my lovely velvet boudoir.
Velvet boudoir.
But he conveniently mentions, like, "Yes, my boudoir that can survive the biggest blasts of any explosive TNT." Like,
he's like,
just
"I'll be fine."
Like just like in a trance where he can't stop doing exposition.
Yeah,
I'll
and
be
he's
more
almost-
than okay.
He's almost like,
Surely anyone else who was in there would be as fine, if not more fine.
"Yeah, Irina, are you listening?"
Do you remember me?
You like velvet? No?
Yes. But then he kind of like, zips down to take Jojo, and Jojo rips like shrapnel out of his back, stabs the hand, and then it is a very, I think, sweet moment. Could have happened earlier. Didn't need to happen for a third time here.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
very sweet moment where like they do sort of realize, and all joking aside, they do realize that they both, in a weird way, as evil and as pure as they both are opposite ends of a spectrum, they both sort of needed each other to be both of those things. To gain that power, Dio realized that he needed Jojo. And to reach his full potential, Jojo needed Dio. So Jojo kind of accepts that they are two of a kind, or two kindred spirits in a weird way, and cradles his head as he dies. And even while Dio's trying to convince him of immortality, like, Jojo's already dead and still holding on to him. And I thought that was a really, given everything else, I thought that was a really beautiful, beautiful moment. I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I liked when the zombies all went to go try to stop Wang Chun from blocking the turbine. I bet the command that he was given was everybody Wang Chun.
Yeah,
tonight.
I was going to say that, but I didn't know for sure if you were going to do it.
That's why his name's that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like 80% sure that's what you were going for. But then to have repeated that and been completely wrong, my fear stopped me.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, and that's pretty much the end. We find out that Irina escaped in the boudoir. And
lovely velvet boudoir.
Yeah.
Comfy.
And I really also
able
like
to resist the blast
Yeah,
of
hell yeah.
1,000 tons of TNT.
the biggest.
great.
It could probably even withstand a ship exploding. But we find out that also she's pregnant and she has this new baby too. So in a weird way, it is already mirroring Jojo and Dio, right? She has taken in an orphan and is having a child of her own. And she's going to do it as a single parent. So it is it mirrors what happened to Jojo and Dio as children, and it's setting up the next bizarre adventure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what fates and deaths the Joestars have.
Yeah.
Because they all, obviously die off. So it's interesting.
Well, I think that's really cool, right? What you said. I kind of realized that as I'm reading Phantom Blood. I'm like, if it has to be a lineage or it has to be a different descendant, does that mean then that the protagonist has to die at the end of each story?
It just means they have to be able to have a child and have the child grow up. It's similar to Assassin's Creed, one might say. Because the stories, because they're based on genetic memories, they can only go up until they have their child. Because then there's no more genetic lines being passed down.
Right. But I mean, they could all, I guess you're right. But I mean, I guess they could just live long enough to have a baby and then die. But I mean,
that has to happen for the stories to continue. But I was also like, oh, is Jojo just going to retire?
Which did have me on edge a little bit during their whole honeymoon boat scene, because like I wasn't sure how much time had passed, and they're celebrating their honeymoon. As pure as Jojo is, I'm like, maybe he's saving, the deed for the honeymoon.
No, I guess not.
And yeah, so like when he's getting killed, when he's getting killed, I'm like, they haven't fucked yet. They don't have a baby. What's gonna happen? You know?
That was the first thing.
But then when she's floating away, she's like the life inside of me.
He was like, I have Haman.
Yeah, I'm humming. Did you already say that?
Yeah, you said that.
Fuck, man.
Haman D's nuts.
Haman D's nuts. It was okay.
It was all right.
It was okay. I'll give you that. I'll give Josh that. It was okay.
Fine.
All right. I literally
on my side one time.
Oh wow! I'm literally on his side
all the time.
Yes, literally.
Physically.
And physically. Yeah. Not on yours.
But I just did think that, like, you know, they might not have the baby. I was kind of a little bit like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
And for him to be like, and take that baby too.
Yeah. What the?
Which is why I thought, like, oh, is the orphan gonna be? Is the lineage not blood?
That's what
And I was like, oh man, this
thing.
is what I never would have expected this. And then she's pregnant. But
she's like, and he finished inside me too.
Yes, and he grew inside of me. So now that we're
two
done,
things. I found a baby, and not a week ago.
Oh. Also, yeah, how much time has passed that she knows now that she's pregnant? Maybe she could just feel it, sense it. Let's not linger there. The point is,
I was like, oh no, we made sure.
Oh yeah, he's like, I made damn sure she's pregnant. Jojo Joestar doesn't miss. All right?
Yeah.
I guided the sperm with my Haman to that egg.
Oh, he probably
maybe he did.
Maybe
and I really do truly wonder if there is going to be some sort of like Haman, because I know we get to stands. I don't know much about stands, but I know that we get there. And I wonder if Haman or life energy or the transferal of that has anything to do with the abilities that some of these later ancestors are going to possess.
Theory I'm on is Haman is just like the stepping stone of where the magic system goes. I think that's like a baseline thing that they're not aware that like you need to do that in order to do this.
I mean, you could be right. But now that we finished Phantom Blood, part 1 of JoJo, knowing that it's going to become completely different and become a completely different story, and according to everyone, get only better and better and better. How did you guys feel about part 1? Take it away.
I liked the beginning and the end. There were highlights in the middle, but it really felt like it dragged on, especially by having like a big climactic fight, and then the next chapter we have their final climactic fight. Where it was like, I mean, if it happened in the castle, what would have changed?
Exactly. Irina wouldn't have been there.
But yeah, it was like, I mean, it was like, she could have been, you know, like if you rewrite the plot to like, oh, and then she was there also, and then
he kidnapped her, or whatever.
Yeah. It just felt like Dio died too many times for me to even care about the ending. I mean, I did, like, obviously it was like, okay, like finally now he's finally dead, but even then I'm like, maybe he survived somehow. Like it just felt so like repetitive in that sense. But I did like the characters that we met. I like Poco. I like his little moment. I mean, all the characters like had little moments, but nothing like the beginning of the story when I was like really, really invested, and then it kind of just fell off and felt like a, like old timey horror like movie. It's like it's a little predictable at times.
Sometimes it does feel, I'm not insulting the mangaka, but I mean, it was written a long time ago, so I'm sure many things copied this, but it does feel like a sort of like a very straightforward story, like nothing other outside of the magic systems. I'm talking about just the journey, good versus evil, does feel very at times generic. I do think there's a lot of like unique things here, and I really agree strongly, I think, with what you said, Cody, is that like the beginning I was like really into Dio. I never felt like someone had been so evil before. And then after that, for him to become just sort of a stereotypical sort of archetypal evil, whereas before he had this like depth and layers. He was drinking in an alley and like hated that he was like the father who abused him. Like he had like this depth to him. And then the moment he gets the mask, he is just sort of a, a villain.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take over the world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you lose that depth a little bit. And then
Yeah.
you get it back a little bit at the end. Which
Where
is,
he's like, yeah, those are really nice. Where he's like, he's trying to bargain with Jojo, like, I'll give you eternal life, and you just, like, we could, like, just let me go, and we'll both escape.
him realizing like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have been this strong if I didn't have to fight you. You know, like he's back to having, I don't know, there's back to being like emotional stakes, I guess. But there's this whole middle chunk where it does feel like there are characters that are underutilized, like Speedwagon. I don't necessarily mind in hindsight, I guess. While I was reading it, it was frustrating, his lack of involvement. But I mean, in hindsight, talking to you guys about it, like it was hilarious that he just kept, providing exposition the entire time. But he felt like he could have, done a little bit more. Or I did think Zeppeli was like the shining light in this part. I really loved him. I think he came in and exited in like perfect timing.
Mhm.
He didn't overstay his welcome or like Dio dying a million times. So overall, there are characters that I really, really like. And I have to agree really with what you said, Cody. It really caught me in the beginning and it caught me at the end. There's shining moments throughout, but I think it's very important that we started here. And I think everybody agrees that we should start at part 1. But I am more excited, I should say, to kind of be done with it so that I can go forward into everything else that JoJo has to offer. And that's kind of how I feel about it. Didn't hate it by any means, but am not over the moon about it either.
And everyone says it gets better. So
And I believe that 100%. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. I think we did it. We got through JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1, Phantom Blood. It was only 3 volumes, so we could do it in one more video, so we figured why not. Let us know what you think about Part 1 specifically. We're going to get into Part 2 eventually. Who knows when, but eventually we will. But let us know what you think of Part 1 and how it stands up against other parts. If you think that it happens to be really, really good and really important, like let us know why. And I feel like if you don't like it, let us know why too. But either way, thank you for being here. The only thing we got to do before our outro, that's always the same and never changes, is thank our wonderful, beautiful, the humming that gives us our life energy.
Our holy divers.
Our holy divers.
Our rainbows in the dark.
Our rainbows in the dark. Our
Our
dyers.
zombie.
Tom Petty and the what's it called? The
Heartbreakers.
Our heartbreakers, because we're all heartbreakers because we're all good looking.
Yeah.
Patreon members.
Oh.
Wow. Thank you guys for all your support. Your support means the absolute world to us. Cody, say something nice about this guy right here.
Oh, I mean, first of all, great name.
Oh, great name. Compliment something else about him.
Probably is just has a fantastic ass.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Megan, say something nice about this name here.
Oh my God, I love their eyes.
Oh, you can see them.
Yeah, I can see them
Oh,
right
wow.
now.
That's amazing.
I can see into their soul.
Thank you guys, all of you guys,
Beautiful
for your support.
soul, by
You
the
guys
way.
you guys all have beautiful souls. You're all beautiful people. Your support allows us
You're the
to
beautiful
take
people.
more time
Oh,
to
yeah.
research and read and work on these videos. We couldn't do as many as we do without your help. Thank you so much.
Honestly, the hard
all of you.
between episodes. I mean, it's like the waiting is the hardest part.
Yeah, I know, dude. I mean, I can't wait to get to certain videos so that I can get to more videos. Was that a reference I missed? It's truth. What you said is truth.
It's starting to get frustrated. These aren't even obscure.
He doesn't.
But it's like quoting movies and stuff like.
Do you think song references are like bad writing?
I never said that movie quotes are bad writing. I'm just saying, like, have your own thought, Cody. Have your own thought.
So
Okay.
you think
Oh, you know what? Quote Step Brothers one more time.
I've
You know
never
what?
quoted Step Brothers.
Quote. What's the song you
That's
just
what
quoted?
you would quote.
I don't. I thought the movie was like fine, but it just became. I thought it was actually really
It's
funny.
the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Oh, but Jesus Christ! It's things like that I
It's
think
that, yeah.
sour the movie for me. Actually,
And
I
then
will
it's
say,
also like, did you touch my drum set?
yeah, I will say it was a really good
Yeah.
movie, but it's the quotes that soured it for me. Anyway,
Fandom.
thank you everybody for watching and listening. And no matter how you show your support, if you're just watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, helps us out a lot too. And if you want to take it a step further and become a Patreon member, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/volume1pod. Now, the only thing to do is to get out of here on our outro. I'm going to try to tip my hat. That's always the same and never changes, which today is...
Jojo
More like
Dunzo.
Don't hate it necessarily.
JoJo's Phantom Blood. More like
Jojo
Dunzo.
Mama.
Jojo Mama.
We're done.
Jojo Mama, but like until next time.
The waiting
We'll
is the hardest
see.
part.
Joe Mama.
I don't hate that. I don't know where it's
that's-
from, but where's it from?
It's Tom Petty.
Oh, okay, then
Joe
we'll say
be
that.
a star.
Yeah, I like the waiting is the hardest part.
Okay.
So waiting is
Because
the
I feel
hardest part.
I think that would work in the
But
in-
that's
with the words like right until next time the waiting.
Yeah. But that's what I was saying. Like I was genuinely, even though I didn't get the reference, like waiting is hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's like I read the stuff and I want to talk about it, and sometimes I read the stuff so that I can talk about it, just so I can get to other stuff that I really want to talk about. You know, waiting is hard.
It's the hardest part.
Thank you.
Every day, you get one more yard.
Okay, we're gonna stop there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and until next time,
Waiting is the hardest part. Part 1.
Dude,
Waiting is the hardest part one.
Phantom Blood.
Is Tom Petty?
The Phantom Blood.
Do you like Tom Petty?
Not like a huge fan though. Yeah, that's Tom.
Oh, the vampires. Oh no, he has a song that mentions vampires.
You suck.
Wow, dude.